Welcome back, class 12, in our political science class. So, in offline classes for few days, like 5 days we had, I was just beginning with the topic legislature, and those students who have not attended these past 5 offline classes, I am also recapitulating the same thing what I taught in offline classes. So today there will be just a recapitulation and clearing of certain meanings regarding the chapter legislature. So let's proceed. So in this module, like in this chapter, we will be discussing, there are so many things, but basically we will try to understand the meaning and functions of legislature. So today I will be discussing about just the meaning section, that is meaning of legislature, legislature meaning, unicameral and bicameral, and difference between. Okay, so then only in next video I will be talking about functions of legislature. So today we will be like studying or discussing about unicameral, what is unicameral legislature or bicameral legislature, and in subsequent videos I'll be talking about the legislature of India and USA. Like we have to study a comparative study of the legislature of which countries? India and USA. But the comparison should be on what basis? The comparison should be based on its composition, then strength, then methods of election, then tenure. So I have clearly mentioned on what basis that we will be comparing the legislature of India as well as USA. Then we will be studying about the functions of legislature. On that note, we will be discussing about legislative function, constituent function, executive function, judicial function, electoral function, and financial functions. So till now, like, you are clear with what are the things that we will study in this module. Say in second module there are different things that I will add up. So don't miss any videos from now on. So we need to complete our syllabus too. So moving forward, now this is the notes that I had given for your friends. Have your, like, those who attended offline classes had these notes, but those who have not attended offline classes, you may write these things and start writing as it. Okay, so those who have written, kindly skip these two parts, and others please write. Now we will understand the meaning of legislature. So what is legislature? Government is an agency which exercises the power of the state over its people and areas. So now we have already discussed in class 11 that state has 4 elements, right? Population, territory, government, and what sovereignty. So we are talking about this element, okay, state. So it is said the government is an agency of state which exercises the power of the state over its people and territory. So government is those things that it exercises power to population as well as its territory. So what are the main function of government? So the main function of government is to perform 3 main functions, that is lawmaking, law enforcement, and law adjudication. So lawmaking, law enforcement, and law adjudication. So this one, lawmaking and law enforcement, I know that the meanings are clear, but what does this law adjudication means? Law adjudication means like it judgment. It can be considered as a judgment or judgment in a disputed manner. matter. Okay, so accordingly each government has, now we are talking about each government has three organs, that is legislature, executive and judiciary. So today we will be understanding about this one organ, that is legislature. So legislature is considered as a lawmaking organ of a government. Therefore legislative function of a government is lawmaking. So you don't be confused, whatever it be, the main function of legislature is just lawmaking, and followed by other two, that is first one is lawmaking, and law enforcement and law adjudication will follow. Okay, judgment. So legislature is responsible for the formulation of the will of the state. Who is responsible for the formation of the will of the state? Uh, legislature is responsible for the formulation of will of the state. Now after that, if the will is formed, then what happens? Discussion, debates and deliberation will occur. That is three, d like three. Okay, we discussion, debate and deliberation. So it's very simple. After the lawmaking, then other two respective functions will follow, that is law enforcement and law adjudication. Moving forward, now the main meaning. What is the meaning of legislature? The generic meaning of legislature is a body which legislates. So what does this mean? Generic meaning is the body. Legislature is a body which legislates. The term leg means law and lature means place, means it's a place. So therefore legislature is a place for lawmaking. So it's very simple. Legislature is a place for lawmaking. Another term for legislature is parliament. So what now, if a question arises, can you give me the other name of legislature, then you have to say it's parliament. And parliament is derived from a French word. Parliament is derived from a French word parler, which means to talk. So in your objective question also, question may come that like give a meaning of parliament, and there will be different options, and you need to choose the correct one. So the correct one is parliament is derived from a French word meaning parler, parler meaning talk, to talk. So moving forward, now we will be understanding what is the meaning of unicameral. Unicameral, uni means one. Okay, so it's very simple. You need to decode this one. It is a form of legislature where only one house exists. One house exists to make and implement laws for the state or a country. So the meaning of unicameral is, it is a form of legislature. We are talking about legislation, right? So it is a form of legislature where only one house exists to make and implement laws for the state. So unicameralism, the word uni has come from a Latin word that is one, and cameral means chamber. This is camera means chamber, is a practice of having a single legislative or a parliamentary chamber. Thus a unicameral parliament or unicameral legislature is a legislature which consists of single chamber of the house, single or one chamber. It's very simple. So uni means one. Okay, and uni means one, and cameral or camera, it's just like a chamber. So it's very easy. So meaning of bicameralism. In this, bi means two and cameral means chamber. So government having consist of or based of two legislative. Uni means one legislative and bi means two legislative. Bicameralism is the practice of having two houses of the parliament. Okay, now at the state level, the equivalent of Lok Sabha is Vidhan Sabha. Okay, in India also we have Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and in state we have same thing, that is Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad. So same as that of Rajya Sabha is Vidhan Parishad. So Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Similarly in state, this is India country. Now in state we have the same thing, that is Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad. So Lok Sabha can be considered as Vidhan Sabha and Rajya Sabha can be considered as Vidhan Parishad in state, not in totally. Okay, so so-called so-called upper house is considered important in parliamentary system, as only a third of seats are filled every 2 years, and it is therefore acts as a check against potential impetuousness of electoral majorities in the lower house. This is not so important, for just your understanding only I have point out, because the one third of seat is filled with every 2 years, and it has a process of changing in 2 years. Okay, so Rajya Sabha has a process of changing in 2 years. So in order to check and balance about the situation in the lower house, that seats are changed every 2 years. So now the difference between, we need to understand what is the difference between bicameralism and unicameralism. Now please come into this part, then only we'll be coming this one. In this part I have a like 10 points for each unicameral and bicameral. You need to follow and you need to write it, and please be sure that it is quite different from each other. In unicameral, responsibility is located, whereas in bicameral, responsibility is divided, because it has two, no? So two chambers, so responsibility is divided. And hasty legislation checks on hasty legislation. So in unicameral, the legislation laws are made hastily, but in bicameralism there is no hasty legislation, because Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are there, two houses are there, then they have a debate with each other, and that leads to check and balance of the decision made by the legislature, and leads unicameralism leads to despotism, but bicameralism checks the despotism. So I'll make you clear about the meaning of despotism. Like despotism, we can give like a meaning that despotism means it is a form of a government, a form of government where the ruler is where the ruler acts as dictator. Okay, so in unicameral leads to dictatorism, but bicameralism checks the despotism. So in unicameral there is no delay on legislation, means there is only one, and if one person decides the legislation, then it is like it will be in a good method, they will start following that laws. But in bicameralism there is delay in legislation, because it has to go to the two parts, like upper house or lower house, like Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and then they have a debate, deliberation, discussion, then only all laws are formed. Now in unicameralism, no occasion for legislative deadlocks, but in bicameralism there is an occasion of a legislative deadlocks. So let's understand the meaning of deadlocks. Deadlock, the meaning of deadlock, it can be like a situation that is stalemate, checkmate, or like, and there is no point of progress, point of progress. Okay, so these are the situation that might occur in unicameral legislation, whereas in bicameralism there is no occasion of being a deadlock. Now, there no duplication of work in unicameral, but there is a duplication of work in bicameralism. Few countries are following unicameral. Okay, only few countries are following unicameral, but many countries are following bicameralism, that is two. Now In unicameral, the workload is very heavy, and in bicameralism, the workload is reduced. So, now in unicameral legislation, economy of national expenditure is limited, but in bicameralism, higher expenditure is there. And no scope. Number 10th point is no scope for representation of minorities and other interests, but in bicameralism there is a scope of representation of minorities and other interests. So these are the difference point. Okay, you need to understand about this. It's very easy. And coming to this part, now let's come to this part. Unicameral and bicameral, one house legislature, quicker decision making, less debate on issues. Okay, bicameralism, two house legislature, both house must agree before laws are passed, more opinions and compromises are necessary. So just for your understanding, this is like unicameral and this is bicameral. It's very easy. So for your understanding, if you forget also, try to remember this picture of one tire and there is a bicycle. Okay, bi mean two, uni means one. So I guess till now you are clear with these things. So we talked about unicameral and bicameral, right? So we need to understand, like we should have a rough idea about which countries are following unicameral and bicameralism. Number 11, unicameral can be found in the countries like Denmark. Other one is Bulgaria, Hungary, Ukraine. Okay, so India, then Pakistan, not Pakistan. Pakistan is there, but the government is not stable out there. Let's talk about USA, United States of America, Mexico, Switzerland. Okay, you can add up also. Okay, so please write the things that I have said in this part also, because it's quite very important. So till now you are clear. So in next video I will continue furthermore with the comparative study of India and USA. So till then, see you and complete your notes. Take care.